Hey guys, I am sitting here in an area of my art room that we have now dubbed Sketchbook Town. Sketchbook Town is the area where my students can go, grab their sketchbooks and put them away. But not only that, Sketchbook Town has a lot of options for my students to draw. I have tried sketchbooks many a time and they have taken on many different forms. And I think the thing that I struggled with the most as an art teacher was just the logistics of sketchbooks. You know, when did we get them out? What can the kids draw in them? And having the kids understand what my rules of Sketchbook Town are. I'm not going to jinx myself and say that I got it, but so far this has been working out well. So I now feel like I'm in a comfortable enough place where I can share with you their sketchbooks, the format that we have settled upon for now, the rules of Sketchbook Town, and the things that they can do. So let me give you a little tour. But before I do, let me grab a bin of sketchbooks. So we are actually sitting in kind of a weird little area of my room. I think I've shared with you before, my art room used to be a library. So I have a lot of these kind of built-in bookshelves, but I also inherited this bookshelf on wheels. It's big, it's beautiful, I love it, but I was always like, number one, where am I putting this thing? And secondly, what is its function? I have a really bad habit of like accumulating furniture, but not really understanding like why. Well, this guy became the clay cabinet because it's on wheels. I could roll it in and out of my clay closet, but it just became cumbersome and in the way. The other day, well, a couple of weeks ago, I decided it would be perfect for holding each class's sketchbooks. Now, I'm only doing sketchbooks with 1st through 4th grade, and this cabinet has worked out well to hold them. I would ultimately like to get more shelves on the sketchbook to perhaps have more things in Sketchbook Town for my students available, but that's another topic for a different day. Anyway, every class's sketchbook bin is color-coded, and as you can see, it's got a little sticker on it, and there's a 4th grade shelf, a 3rd grade shelf, a 2nd grade shelf, and a 1st. So their sketchbooks are easy to find. But what I have noticed is that my students are having to dig through the bin to find their sketchbooks. So what we will be introducing after we return from the weekend are these folders, which previously I used them to keep like table team scores. I don't do that anymore, but I still could not part with these awesome laminated folders. So now what we're going to be doing with them is keeping the tables sketchbooks in here. That way when a student comes over to go to Sketchbook Town, they don't have to rifle through all the sketchbooks. They can simply find their table folder and then find their sketchbook that's inside. These sketchbooks were made by pieces of drawing paper that were simply cut in half lengthwise. And then I have a sketchbook decoder sheet that's currently free as a downloadable PDF on my blog. So my students spent a couple of days using paint sticks to create the cover of their sketchbook. We filled them with 10 blank sheets of white paper, and then I made some sketchbook inserts. I don't have these available for you all yet, but it has like our art class catchphrase. It has kind of like a bio page where they could draw and write about themselves, and then elements of art, principles of design, and then some other things that I definitely want to touch on this year. Eventually, I hope to make those available for you, but for now, I don't, and I'm sorry. But that just gives you a peek what's in our sketchbooks. We stapled them with our electric stapler, and most of us had the chance to pick a piece of tape to put over the staples. And the only reason for that is because it's cute, and that's really the only reason. So that's a little peek of what our sketchbooks look like. Now, a tour. Right over here is where Sketchbook Town is. Pardon the mess on the left. This is where they can go if they've finished a couple of things, and I'll show you. But this is Sketchbook Town. This is the cabinet that I was telling you about that has their grade levels in it. 4th is on top just because they're taller and they can reach. 1st grade is on the bottom just because they're smaller. And right over here, I have come up with these 3 Sketchbook Town rules. These rules have become really important as I'm noticing some of my students are just kind of whipping through their drawings, or when I come over to Sketchbook Town and it is a hot flippin' mess. So my 3 rules for Sketchbook Town are: finish what you start, tidy before you depart, create from your heart. Before they go to Sketchbook Town, they need to finish their masterpiece. So whatever it is we're currently working on has got to be cleaned up and placed on the drying rack, clean up their area, and write an exit slip. So in my room, for an exit slip, all they have to do is grab a Post-it note from here and a pencil. They just have to write something that they've learned today. Walk that little Post-it note, pardon my mess. Y'all, I'm just constantly trying to clean and get my life together. They take their little Post-it and they place it over here. Okay. Now, once they've got that finished, they have their options. Here are their options. And I'm sorry this is so backlit. This you might be able to see better. If they have finished their masterpiece, cleaned up, and written an exit slip, then they can finish a page in their sketchbook. They could draw from observation. They could draw from instruction, or they can draw from their imagination. So let me share with you what all of that looks like. I let the kids know that anything on this side of the cabinet, this is all Sketchbook Town materials. This is anything on this side of the cabinet they can use. If they want to draw from observation, they have lots of options to choose from. There's my mannequins. These guys are from IKEA. I just spray painted them. They have blocks where they can build something. These are foam blocks and wooden ones, things I've gotten at the thrift store. They could use dinosaurs. They can use a combination of these things. A lot of them like to make Jurassic Parks and then draw that. I just found this little bin in my closet. As I'm finding things, I'm pulling it out of little animals for them to draw from. These great thrift store finds of buildings. They have loved drawing these lately because they're turning them into haunted houses. And then if they feel like drawing a still life. Then I've even started adding more to my observational drawing stash. I have a lot of stuff and I just keep it in my closet, and I pull it out as we talk about it. And I thought, why am I doing that? I've got all these amazing resources. So I've put these masks in bins. I've got fruit for a still life. These are all bigger size plastic animals for them to draw and draw from. Again, just from the thrift store. Wooden carvings and figurines, stamps from India. If they want to draw from observation, they of course could use these mirrors. These mirrors are fabulous because they stand on their own, and the kids love them. And I actually have them practice draw on them quite a bit with dry erase markers. Then that is my drawing from observation. If they want to draw from instruction, then I have tons of how to draw books. A lot of them from the thrift store, a lot of them just collected from Scholastic book fairs. And what I have done is I've spray painted the binding of them. I used to have these little tabs, but it never quite worked. So I just took them and spray painted the sides. That way the kids can easily figure out where they go back to. I've got some on monsters, transportation, dinosaurs, random stuff like insects and robots, animals and cartoons. Lastly, I have drawing from imagination. For that, I have these idea sticks. These are just popsicle sticks with different ideas for my kids to choose from. They don't have to use these. Of course, drawing from imagination can mean that you're drawing from a memory, you're drawing from, just anything that you can come up with. I've also told the kids that when they are drawing from observation, instruction, and imagination, they could combine these things, meaning maybe they picked a stick that said, draw a dinosaur park. So they want to use these tools to build the park and then use a book to help them further understand how to draw the dinosaur. Is this guy. So I'm planning on getting 2 more of these. I'm pretty sure they'll fit if my measurement is right. I have, from college, when we had to make these, all of these beautiful resources. This is like a bin full of landscape images that my students can use. I'd like to have landscape. I'd like to have portrait, insects, cars, real life photographs for my students to draw from. So basically like a visual file. I'd like to have that one, and then any of my drawing idea sheets, I'd also like to have those stashed there.
And there you have it, a little tour of Sketchbook Town. Yeah, I hope all of that makes sense. I will keep you posted because I'm new to this format of doing sketchbooks with my students. So fingers crossed it all goes well. All I know is right now they are loving it. Thanks for letting me share, guys. Talk to you soon.